in HD. ZNS Network presents The Bahamas Tonight. This portion of the news brought to you by BTC Every Day.
The countdown is on to National Health Insurance. Good evening, everyone. I'm Charisma Robinson.
And I'm Chris Saunders. Thank you so much for joining us. The rollout of the anticipated phased National Health Insurance is only weeks away, and the National Insurance Board is revealing its role. NIB will be the agency responsible for registering more than 200,000 Bahamians and legal residents early next year. To facilitate the goal, Jiminita Swain tells us tonight that an enhanced registration campaign will soon start and residents are urged to get registered.
Director of the National Insurance Board, Rowena Bethel, says come January 18, 2016, the board expects to begin registration for the more than 200,000 persons who do not already have NIB smart cards. But how will it work?
The card is really what is going to be used to identify those persons eligible for NHI services, and the systems will be built around the ability of recognizing whatever is on the card and with the interfaces with the various databases. So the card is vitally important because it establishes your entitlement to National Health Insurance Services and will be required on presentation.
To date, NIB officials have distributed 157,000 smart cards that were introduced back in 2014. Bethel said NIB has 25,000 cards to issue to persons in Grand Bahama and 26,000 to those in the Family Islands. In an effort to facilitate the registration of the 215,000 persons, 6 centers will be activated January 18th.
The operating hours at the New Providence centers will be from 12 noon to 8 p.m. from Monday to Saturday. Each center will have a need assistance line for those persons requiring additional help with completing the application form. Registrants will be required to complete the individual registration application form and provide the required supporting documentation, which may include the applicant's passport or voter's card.
While there is no clear indication of what information will be contained on the biometric cards, Vice President of Information Technology Dr. Raymond Wells said the cards will have all the relevant information for NHI, and security is a major factor.
On the face of it, the card has about 12 security features that we built into the card for reducing any fraudulent activities in terms of replication of the card. The chip itself is encrypted, which means that only our system could read the contents of that chip.
Now, officials advise that without a national insurance card, persons will not be able to access services offered by National Health Insurance. Jiminita Swain, ZNS Network News.
Tempers flared in the House of Assembly this morning after the Long Island MP accused the nation's chief of being involved in a conflict of interest. That assertion did not sit well with Prime Minister Perry Christie, who was sure to defend his name and his character. Janae Noel Ferguson covered House proceedings as the drama unfolded.
Just before the Prime Minister took the office of Prime Minister for the second time, he was the consultant to this company. Now his cabinet sits to determine what is going to happen with this very same company that they're going to give licensing to for the exploration. That, in fact, is the conflict.
It was those remarks by MP for Long Island, Loretta Butler Turner, that sparked a war of words across the House of Assembly Wednesday.
I regret, with respect to Mr. Speaker, that amongst the advice I gave that particular company was to go to another law firm. And that is the law firm of Higgs & Johnson. The company is also acted for by Graham Thompson, where another Attorney General served.
He fired back at Butler Turner and said that when members opposite speak of conflicts, they should consider this.
Conflict is when someone serves in a capacity as a minister and then immediately after election served as a consultant to the company he gave favor for as a minister. That happened on that time. That's what conflict is. That's what conflict is. That's what conflict is.
But the argument only intensified as the Long Island MP referenced Ryan Pinder's resignation from cabinet to take a top position at Deltec.
I guess that's what he means was not a conflict of interest either.
In the last 3.5 years, Deltec has never made any application to the cabinet or to the government, so that there just is no basis for asserting that the member for Elizabeth has acted in an improper manner.
I disclose what I do. Yes, I represented oil companies before, but that's not an issue here today. I'm not dealing with any oil company. I'm dealing with the reforming of the petroleum industry.
Debate on the Petroleum and Sovereign Wealth Fund bill continues on Thursday morning.
Member for Central and South Eleuthera setting the record straight over his resignation from cabinet, where he holds the post of Minister of State for Legal Affairs. The resignation comes into effect at the end of the year. Gomez said despite rumors that he resigned for financial reasons, that was not the case. He was not dissatisfied with emoluments given to cabinet ministers, and his decision was simply for ethical reasons. He concluded his contribution by reaffirming his commitment to the Progressive Liberal Party.
Ethical standards that are expected of members of this place, I adhere to them, and whatever becomes of me is as a result of my adherence to the standards of ethics that I learned from my father. And I say no more than that. And I hope that that suffices to quiet the rumors that have been mischievously spread. I thank all members of the cabinet for their cooperation with me over the last 3.5 years. I look forward to continued service together as we strive towards winning another general election and ensuring that the Progressive Liberal Party dominates the politics of the modern Bahamas.
A magistrate handed down a decision today in the case of former Free National Movement Senator John Boswick Jr. Boswick has been on trial for gun ammunition charges. Fern Carey has been following the case.
During the brief proceedings, Magistrate Andrew Forbes found former F&M Senator John Boswick Jr. guilty of having 10 live rounds of .22mm ammunition in his possession back on May 17th while on Freeport, Grand Bahama, and subsequently convicted him. 42-year-old Boswick, his parents, former parliamentarians Henry and Janet Boswick, and other relatives all appeared extremely disappointed at the ruling. Boswick's defense was that there was no direct forensic evidence due to the lack of fingerprints or serial numbers on the ammunition. His lawyers also maintained that the bag in which the ammunition was found had a torn interior pocket. They also suggested that several people had the opportunity to tamper with or interfere with the bag, as Boswick left the bag unattended at the Grand Bahama International Airport when he went to get a rental car. They also noted that unsupervised maids had access to the room where Boswick stayed while in Freeport attending a wedding. The defense also contended that Boswick left the bag in the car when he went to see the new home of the groom, while a screener could have tampered with the bag when he went to the Grand Bahama International Airport to return home. Boswick also told the court earlier that he believed he had been set up. However, the magistrate rejected Boswick's defense, noting that firearms have oils on the surface which leave an impression, allowing experts to get needed information. He also noted that while Boswick said he had been set up, he never explained why. The court indicated that Boswick was negligent in leaving the bag unattended and was not proactive in checking his bag. Magistrate Forbes then indicated that he was satisfied that the prosecution had proved his case beyond a reasonable doubt and Boswick had possession and control of the bag. He then convicted Boswick. However, he allowed the 42-year-old to remain on bail. Whether Boswick receives a fine, a prison term, or both depends on the discretion of the magistrate.
Now, Boswick returns to court on January 22nd when he will be sentenced before Magistrate Andrew Forbes. Fern Carey, ZNS Network News.
Testimony continued today in the trial of two men accused of killing Dario China Knowles, the son of the late Dion Emperor Knowles, 2 years ago. Prosecutors have already closed their case, and the two accused, Rashad Sullivan and Patrickita Rose, are now presenting their defense. Sullivan called his final witness today, while Rose is expected to give his defense Thursday morning. Darrell Taylor and Aaron Johnson are prosecuting the case.